my favorite holiday ever is Christmas, and my favorite gift to get is a MacBook. But apparently, you can't game on a MacBook.
And so Santa has brought us a bunch of quality parts to prove that building a PC is better.
So, welcome to BRUDE Tech.
For the case, we went with Lee & Lee 011 Vision Compact, which is a beautiful case. It's mainly a lot of glass panels, and the difference between the Vision and the regular 011 is the fact that it usually has a metal brace that goes here and a metal panel on the top for if you want to top mount the radiator.
Wow.
It's like a silver screen.
Fancy.
Yeah. So we actually went with the ASRock X870 Pro RS Wi-Fi board.
So this is the motherboard right here.
Okay.
So this is the motherboard. This is pretty much the body of your computer.
Okay. This is where the RAM goes, I know that.
Yeah. There you go.
Part of why we went with this is because, one, it fit the color scheme. It could run the amount of RAM that we wanted to, which was, we're currently running 64 gigabytes of RAM. We went with Ryzen 7 9700X. It's a 8-core, 16-thread processor, which is extremely fast for what we're going to be using it for. You want to tell them what we're actually using it for?
We're actually going to be using it for sim racing. I've never sim raced in my life, but Ellis is actually the veteran sim racer in this group, unfortunately. Yes. All right, guys, we're at Ellis's place, checking out his championship-winning setup. Show us around, Alright, tell us about your screen, first off.
34-inch Dell. I just got this like 2 months ago.
Okay.
Nice curved one. About the same dimensions you have, about 2 inches less wide. How do you say it? 2 inches thinner.
Yeah, 2 inches less wide. That's correct, that's correct. Okay.
Xbox is G920. I would recommend this for anybody who was like testing the waters on sim racing. It's $300 for both the wheel and pedals, but it's not very strength. I'm having a stroke.
So there's not a lot of torque.
Thank you. There's not a lot of torque to this wheel at all.
Alright, cool. What he's saying is don't spend a shit ton of money like I did.
So for reference, your wheel for your setup is 25 Newton meters of strength.
Okay.
This is 2.3. This is 2.3.
Okay, alright, cool.
You have a 4070 Ti Super with 16 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay.
I have a 3060 Ti with 8.
Alright, he's gonna show us his win percentage with this setup.
So 2024, and this is a little biased because I was trying new cars. 367 starts, 51 wins, and 142 top 5s. It's a good amount.
This setup?
With this setup, this is the only setup I use.
This is like, yo, he don't even got a back for his chair, dog. That's crazy.
I'll trade your chair so you get a back.
No, that's all good. You're too tall for this, bro.
You can put the chair down.
I love. This is the best setup ever, dude. Alright, here we go. Alright. Oh, the only thing is I don't get sound, so I can put this on?
Yeah, you can put it on. You'll get actual sound.
I gotta wait for my tires to get warm, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I actually like this setup better, Ellis.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
It's easier. The pedals aren't like stiff. I should have started on this rookie setup, bro. What the heck? I think my problem is we just have too much time on our hands. Look how good I'm doing. I'm not crashing. Keeping it in high gears. I can control the brake better. I just think that brake is like so stiff I can't control it. I spoke too soon.
I think a key difference between what we've done at your setup and mine, right? Mm-hmm. Feedback. You're losing a lot of data. I can't feel it slipping. I have to go like almost purely off of visual aid.
You have to kind of look at the car, see what it's doing.
I have to look at the car, which is why I have the wheel up here.
So you can see what it's doing.
Yeah.
How competitive do you think this would be? I think it's still be pretty freaking competitive. You just proved to us how competitive it can be.
Well, you know what? I just saw a post. Someone just hit like, I think it's top 0.5% with this setup. Like there's like...
Of racers?
Like
in
racers
iRacing?
in iRacing. They just hit something called 6,000 iRating, which is, I think it's 0.5 if not 0.3 of racers.
Wow. Percent.
With the G29, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So this is a popular beginner setup.
I've bought this so many times. My friend has bought this. He introduced me to it, and then I bought my girlfriend's brother this for Christmas last year.
That's so cool, man. I love it.
So it's fun.
Complete with pedals. $300.
Yeah, $300.
That's not bad to get into sim racing. See, if you had the SimuCube, you would have felt that coming.
I would have saved that.
Thanks for showing me your setup, dude.
Of course.
All right. Back to BRUDE Tech.
All right, so for this PC, we went with the RTX 4070 Ti Super, 16 gigabytes of VRAM for the best graphics for our buck. Yeah, there are newer cards like the 50 series, but they're a little overpriced. We don't need them. This is gonna last us 5-7 years.
Okay.
At like the best graphics quality we're using for the game.
Yeah. Even after that 7-year mark rolls around, we'll just have to turn it down to high instead of ultra.
Yeah.
So still extremely good. Will last probably closer to almost 10 years.
So there's that little notch right there. If you don't line it up and you press down, you're just gonna break it.
It is really hard. You should know because it's uneven. It tells you which way it should go.
So push in one side and then the other side. Yep.
Okay. Give me that.
Yep.
That felt good.
Yeah, it's surprisingly satisfying. And then typically, if you're only using 2 sticks of RAM, there's an order in which you're supposed to actually install it. Since we're using all 4, it doesn't necessarily matter, and no motherboard, or not no motherboard, but a lot of motherboards kind of vary in which channels you're going to use.
Okay.
So you usually always want to check the paperwork. I know a lot of people don't like to actually look at the instructions, but in this specific instance, it's kind of important.
Why wouldn't we have all this on one stick?
Most RAM work better in parallels, so you actually have better speed coming out of it when it has 2 things to ping off of instead of just 1.
So we all ride bikes. And so if you have a single cylinder bike, super torquey, but you can't get super high horsepower, single cylinder. So now we have a 4-cylinder.
High RPM.
Higher RPM, you can get faster out. So each of these, I think, are 6,000
Yeah, 6,000 megahertz.
megahertz.
Okay.
So now, instead of you just having one at 6,000, you have 6,000, 6,000. So you basically have 2,400 megahertz.
Yeah.
That's theoretical. This only has 2 channels, so you can only do half of that. But this is so you can get faster speed, more cylinders, quicker speed.
Makes a lot of
RPM.
sense. Yeah.
More RPM. That's why you want to break it apart.
It's smoother.
It's smoother, yes.
Gotcha. Makes a lot of sense.
A lot of pre-builds come with only 1 stick of RAM, which is actually not good at all because there's no redundancy in the system. So it's kind of like a divide and conquer type of thing. Everything is a lot more efficient when it's divided and conquered than if it's one person doing everything all the time. And that same type of application is extremely important here. So your computer wants to be able to divide the workload between all 4 of those RAM sticks versus just 1 stick.
Okay, so speaking of pre-built, why don't we go to Best Buy and check out some of the pre-builts?
Yeah.
Now, what is a tech channel without a visit to our favorite tech store, Best Buy? Nate, what day is it today?
It's Black Friday.
Your favorite day of the year?
Oh, that's the worst. We're 12 years in retail. I don't want to be here.
Oh my god. There's actually something else that I wanted to buy today. You remember those headphones that you were wearing?
Yeah.
I want to get some for Fabi. Which ones do you think she would like?
This is the ones that I
think she would love these. It's a great Christmas gift. And these don't go in your ear.
No, I just sit right on the front.
Just go on like
Yep, just like that.
Oh, she would love these. I need some of these
And
for myself.
it's not even in your ear.
Yes. So you run with these too, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Merry Christmas, babe. Okay, so what does Nate come to Best Buy to geek out on?
Cameras.
15 to 35, 2.8L, $2,100. Which one's your favorite camera right now? This is the R5. This is the one you're geeking over. How much is it? $3,399.
This price is why I stick with Fuji, bro.
Okay, we're looking for the pre-built PCs. This is what a pre-built PC looks like. Very similar to ours. This is one. This is one. These are all pre-built. $900 for this one. $1299 for this one. NVIDIA GeForce 4060 Intel Core i7 14th Gen. 32 gigs of memory, 2 terabytes. RTX 4060. Is that a good brand? NVIDIA?
There's 2 brands that make the actual graphics cards. It's either NVIDIA or AMD.
So this is an NVIDIA 4060, but not a Super Ti. Can you tell us, just from looking at this, what brand the fans are?
Except for being able to see in the back, but no, I have no clue what brand that is.
Okay, can you tell us what brand the motherboard is based on this?
Nope, not that I can say of.
Can you tell what RAM it has?
Yeah, that I can tell. So that's T-Force. Yep.
Is that a good RAM?
Actually, yes, for once it is.
For once it is. Zotac Gaming, is that a reliable?
So Zotac Gaming is, yes.
Okay, so we can say for sure that at least the graphics card and the RAM, decent.
They're decent, but one of the biggest flaws that you can see, there's only 1 stick of RAM in there. And typically you always want to have two, and that's one of the things that the pre-builds don't take into account a lot. They'll give you one stick of RAM instead of giving you the exact same amount of RAM, but in two sticks that work better for your computer.
So let's see how much RAM this has. 16 gigabytes.
Yes, that's a 16 gigabyte stick of RAM instead of breaking it up into two 8 gigabyte sticks.
Which is what you should do.
Yeah, yep, exactly. You should do it
Interesting.
better for performance reasons.
Interesting. We have 4 16s.
Yep, we have 4 16 gig.
We're a little overkill here at BRUDE Tech, if you didn't know. Anything else? What about the power?
The power supplies, we have no clue until we were to buy it and open it up. I used to work for Geek Squad for 2 years. I was the advanced repair agent. Pre-builds are okay, but you tend to see a lot of issues 1 or 2 years down the line. The biggest thing that most of them hit, depending on which model you get, is going to be like the air ventilation is getting better on a lot of these ones. Some of them in the past, and obviously that might have changed over the course of a few years, they changed it so that they're getting better airflow, so they're not burning up and basically causing issues. But before it was like, oh, let's make this thing look really cool, and then all of a sudden there's not enough airflow to it because there's no air going in, it's just pushing hot air out.
Yeah, because good ventilation, you need
Some
kind of circular.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
In and out.
Yep, in and out, and a lot of the pre-builds are just strictly out.
And what's the best burger in California?
In and out.
In and out. Out of these, which one do you think you would buy?
I'd say this one,
This one?
just by the looks of it, yeah.
Just by the looks of it? Okay.
2 fans there. The 2 sticks of RAM. It's got an integrated radiator cooler, so AIO. I think this one would definitely be a
That
good one
one.
to go with, yeah.
And how much is this one? $1,300.
Yeah, the only difference is that for what we want to use it for, it's not going to quite cut it.
Because the 4060.
4060 and then the 32 gigabytes. And then look at the storage size. So you're only getting 2 terabytes. The thing is, we're spending a little bit more, so it looks a little bit better. And then also, because our parts won't go bad, and if they do go bad, we'll be able to basically figure out exactly what's wrong with them and send it back to them.
Yes.
Not bring it back here and then them tell us, oh yeah, no, it'll take a week to figure out what the heck's going on, and then you're gonna have to pay extra to send it out.
Send it out.
Because it has to be sent out. We
So
don't really
all
work
the-
on it too much.
All the parts that we bought individually have their own warranty.
Yeah, at least their own manufacturer.
Warranty?
Warranty. Same shit.
I am convinced now that building a PC is better than buying pre-built. But if you don't need as much gaming power,
Yeah, if you don't need as much gaming power, I would still say build your own, but if you don't have as much money, I would say buy a pre-built.
pre-built. Okay, and you can possibly upgrade later.
Sometimes, depending on which model you get, HP Omen and Asus ROG, you might be able to upgrade with what you have. It's harder to get out of it, and you gotta buy an upgraded version, but these ones, they kind of expect you to do that.
Okay.
So the ones from the big brands don't do it, the ones from the smaller brands do.
Just build your own. Okay, so here's a terrible example of a pre-built PC.
So this is Lenovo Legion. It was $2,000, so
$500 off.
yep, $500 off, but you're only getting a terabyte,
1 terabyte.
32 gigs of RAM.
It says RTX 4070 Super.
Yeah, it's 14.
Oh, no, we're looking at this one.
I know, but I'm saying if we're comparing to apples, more closer to your computer,
Ah,
this is how much you'd be paying for essentially nothing.
yeah, for half of this.
Yeah, we only spent maybe $200,
Yeah.
$203 more,
And it has a different CPU, right? It's an i7.
yeah, they're about the same. They're
As
about
ours, the
yeah.
Ryzen 7?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're about the same.
Okay.
But you can't really upgrade anything in here.
No,
You can't.
doesn't seem like
Yeah, like this is it.
it. Okay. And look at the RAM sticks.
Yeah, they give you 2 crusty ones.
The crazy RAM sticks, what the hell?
Looks like they grabbed that off the shop floor. I don't know why.
Okay, alright. I'm convinced. I'm 100% convinced. While we're here, can we get a mouse and keyboard?
Yeah, sure. Just depends on how much.
Slap myself with this. Alright, let's go check out the mouses and keyboards. The mices? The meese? The meese? Okay, alright, let's go. So, one of my final questions is, can you actually buy parts from a store like Best Buy to build your own PC? And what did you say?
Oh yeah, no, of course. Best Buy is like one of the best places to get your parts from. At least I always trust them when it comes to when you have to buy online, you can pick up in store. I don't trust that people aren't going to drop my $700 graphics card when throwing boxes across a shipping facility point, at least you know relatively if it comes from here, there's an issue, they'll take care of you. They don't necessarily offer warranties on a lot of these, like the parts, but if there is something wrong with it, they will take care of you.
Nice.
But you can, most of the time, they're getting shipped through Best Buy, from Best Buy.
Gotcha.
So they're properly wrapping them. A lot of them come in like bigger boxes, so of course they're going to be more secure, unless maybe you got the one that's all the way in the corner of the box at the edge. Maybe that one might not be okay.
And it seems like people are buying from here because the shelves are actually empty. Look, there's our freaking. Is that ours? That's the one we bought, right?
Yep.
The Ryzen 7.
Yep, Ryzen
9000.
7 9700X.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the cooling? Because there's a ton of fans in here and there's a ton of colors. And for me, I'm just like, why do we need so many freaking fans?
Part of why we're going with so many fans is it's not even so many fans. I've actually built cases and builds that have had like double the amount of fans.
Okay.
Which is actually kind of crazy. But part of the reason why is cooling. So a really big component of PC building is making sure that your cooling is efficient. We have intake down here. So that's going to pull air up, cool air from the bottom up and in. And then we have exhaust fans on both sides here, as well as there are 3 fans on the graphics card. So that's going to pull air straight through the graphics card.
How many fans do we have in total? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 on the graphics card?
3.
3.
Yeah, 3
so
on the graphics card.
10 fans
Yeah,
total.
10 fans in total.
That's not overkill.
No.
The more fans, the better, is what you're saying.
Essentially, yeah.
It won't overwork the CPU.
Yep.
Okay.
So none of your parts have to strain any more than just doing the normal tasks.
If you could put more fans on this, would you?
Yeah.
He said yeah.
The difference with these fans that Liam Lee put out, that we happen to get, they actually daisy chain together, which allows us to connect them with 3 cables instead of every single fan having an individual cable. So we'll have 1, 2, and 3 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different cables to power and control the RGB for the fans. Yeah.
Apparently this cable is a special cable because apparently it's 600 watts through this little tiny. I don't know what that means. Explain that to us.
So 600 watts of power goes from basically from the power supply
Right.
to this.
Okay, can you give us a comparison of like what? Wow.
So 600 watts. So you have a Saharon. Saharon, 1,000 watts.
Okay.
Space heater, 1,000-ish, 1,100 watts. Toaster, about 1,100 watts.
Okay.
So this is
600 watts.
just for the GPU
Just for
alone.
one part.
Oh, that's a lot.
So
That's a lot.
because we have is it 1,000?
No,
watt?
850.
It's an 850 watt power supply. So we're roughly charging a Sauron with this power that this computer takes.
That makes sense why we need all these fans.
Oh my god.
The back looks like a rat's nest, but we'll accept that for now.
But doesn't this whole thing pop out?
The one missing cord that we don't know where it goes to.
Something with it.
So this is on there. Pull this cord, Alex.
Yeah, I kind of. Oh,
That's all I want you to do is just pull this cord.
Sounds like it needs WD-40, guys.
Some of the hiccups. Okay, so the first thing is going to be these lights down here. You actually can't see that they're on, and we're actually going to replace it. But we had ordered some parts through PC Part Picker. We actually just used the portal to click through and bring us to the links that we needed. I've actually worked with that radiator and fan setup in the past, so I know exactly what it should have been. When I went through and double checked after having issues with the LEDs on these 2 fans not turning on, it turns out that PC Part Picker shows you one thing, and then you click on the link, and even Amazon shows you one thing, but you scroll through the pictures and then you realize that that's not the correct model. PC Part Picker is we more or less think of it as a skeleton builder. So pretty much it's a giant database of all the parts and all the pictures, so you can have like a visual aid to kind of figure out exactly what you're putting together. Basically, it'll help you list out your CPU, your GPU, all of your case fans, your motherboard, your actual case, if you want to add your peripherals like your screens, your mouse, your keyboard, all of that good stuff. You can have it list out all in one place, and to have a general estimate of how much it's going to cost you, where you can get it from, and basically the stats about how much power it's going to draw and like what it's capable of. So it's extremely handy for when you're actually building a computer, because you don't have to do all that thinking out loud. That website's going to help you pick everything you need. But you can't take everything from them at face value. You should always do your own research, and we happen to mess up and not do the perfect amount of research, and we ended up getting the wrong AIO, which we're going to probably change out in a day or two. We're just waiting for that new part to come in. But PC Part Picker is awesome. It just has its flaws sometimes. On this motherboard, it actually has 3 PCIe M.2 slots. So you can have up to 3 SSDs in here, as well as it has a bunch of SATA connectors, so you could do your classic like hard drives.
Yeah, the disk.
Yeah, the disk hard drives. So that would just sit in the back of the computer.
Cool.
Get jacked. So to build this PC took us about 3.5 hours. Why did it take us so long? Cable management. There's 2 parts to that. One, the power supply. We couldn't fit the power cables behind the motherboard, so we had to undo some of the motherboard in order to, like, there's a very small clearance back here. Had to wedge them in without breaking anything. And the second half to that is cable management in the back, as well as connections to the motherboard.
I think there's almost 10 different cables in the back, and we had to connect each one. So we actually have an issue at the moment. We're not giving it enough power to it. There's a USB split header that we need to buy for that. So a bunch of the time it took was just installing the fans, making sure they fit in the right spots. We have 2 different size fans, and so we actually installed those in the incorrect order the first time, and they wouldn't fit in the spots we had originally planned. So we installed the fans and then had to remove them and then put it all back together. So those are not it?
No, the threads are too wide.
Alright, so this is my pre-built. I had to change out the graphics card and the RAM because it was just too slow. It only has one place for ventilation, which is horrible.
One of the biggest issues with a lot of the pre-built computers is one of the things is ventilation. So ventilation is a huge issue. There's no fans in the front, there's no fans on the top. It's just that one fan in the back pulling air out of the case, and then that one fan on top of the CPU to keep it cool. So that's one of the biggest issues that a lot of pre-builts have. They end up having to throttle, which means that they turn down the power just to basically dissipate some of that heat. Also, they usually come with only 1 stick of RAM, which is a little weird. Most of the time you always want to run at least 2, but a lot of pre-builts come with 1. So if there's any issues with your RAM when you're actually using your computer, you're like, well, I don't necessarily know what's wrong because there's only 1 stick of RAM, and then from there you end up troubleshooting around it, which, yes, that could be an issue, but that also might not even be the issue at all. So that's part of why most people build a PC, is because the parts that you get from the start are going to be a lot better than when you have to go and replace it down the line. And how long have you had this for?
2 years, 3 years, 2-3 years.
Exactly. So for the price you paid, 2 years later, you still had to replace certain things versus the custom PC. You probably won't have to replace anything on that for maybe 5 to 6 years. Because even mine, I still don't have to replace stuff. I just want to. But it's not like oh no, like, in order for me to be able to play with other people, I need to change things out. And not all pre-builts are like that. I'm going to make a disclaimer. Not all pre-builts you have to replace things on, but a lot of them you do.
Alright, Ellis, do you think this gaming PC, at least for me or for anybody, would this be overkill?
Actually, no. This graphics card, the RTX 4070 Ti Super, was released at the start of 2024. You have 16 gigabytes of VRAM. For games, like a notorious game for this would be Cyberpunk 2077. You'd be able to run that at the highest settings, probably.
Yeah.
I'm on medium.
Okay.
The other reason, we're running triple monitors for racing.
Okay.
You're gonna need a lot of graphics processing. For longevity, since games are getting bigger, higher quality, this is perfect. Lasts us 7 years.
Yeah, at the very least.
At the very least, yeah. On highest settings, 7 years.
Okay.
Minimum.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like the least performance, 10 being the most performance, where are we in this $2,300 PC build?
I would say somewhere between 7 and 8.
I was gonna say 8.
Yeah,
Yes.
somewhere between 7 and 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the higher, there's a 4080, right? And there's a 4090.
Are we going in 40 cards or are we going up
I'm
in
just
50s?
I'm just saying in 40 cards.
Okay.
Oh, in 40 cards? Yeah, we're at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would take this from 8 to say 9, 10?
So we would go with a 50 series card. So
One of the new 50s.
yeah, one of the newer series graphics cards would make a hell of a difference. So that's the biggest part for a gaming PC that determines its performance quality. Like right off the bat. Like if you have a really old graphics card, that's going to make a lot more of a difference than you think it will. Obviously, the amount of RAM you have and the CPU you have changes a lot as well. But depending on your graphics card, that could pull almost all the weight, especially when it comes to gaming.
Gotcha. Okay. So, theoretically, could I just change this graphics card to the 50 series and be in the 8, 9, 10?
Yes.
Yes, with some exceptions.
Go
You
for
change the graphics card to a 50 series, you're almost guaranteed you have to swap that power supply unit. You're actually, if you upgrade to a 50, with what the prices are right now, you're probably doubling the cost of this PC.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it comes with double the cost to get that 2 more tier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. And then at that point, would that be overkill for something that I'm doing?
Yes. Yep.
Gotcha.
So that would definitely be overkill. Now I've built a lot of overkill PCs, and it's super funny. They look beautiful, but you're like, unless you're doing engineering or graphic design or video editing, you're never gonna tap into any of that. Like this is pretty much the cusp of usable power. Like the 4070, the 5070 to 3070, I think the 70 series of the graphics cards, at least for NVIDIA, not talking about AMD, but with that series, that's where you pretty much come to that threshold of like, what can you actually use before it starts, you're just laughing at processes that the computer might have to do.
Okay. All right. Well, that answers all of my questions. Hopefully you guys enjoy this little mini build that we did. Thank you guys for helping me. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. The last thing to do is to go try our sim rig.
You gotta be kidding.
Okay, we're not done yet. Hold on. Nate has something to confess. Go ahead.
Yeah. So typically you wouldn't put the radiator on the bottom, but because of our fan setup and the size of our graphics card, I can't put it anywhere else. So if you want to be butthurt about it, you can yell at me. It's fine. Yell at me in the comments.
Oh my god! Hey, it's his feet.